My friends, money is not a master, it is a servant. It does not control you, unless you give it power over your mind. Money is simply energy, and like all energy, it obeys divine law. Many suffer lack because they imagine money to be scarce, difficult, or hard to reach. But the truth is this: abundance surrounds you, waiting to flow into your hands the moment you come into alignment with the laws that govern it. You cannot break divine law, but you can break yourself against it. When you move in harmony with it, prosperity becomes effortless. The world may say money comes by struggle, by competition, by fear, but heaven declares that money comes by law, the same way the sun rises, the same way a seed brings forth harvest. Tonight I will show you 7 divine laws that govern your money. They are eternal, unchanging, and exact. When you understand them, you will see that money is not outside of you, but drawn to you. You will no longer chase after wealth. Instead, wealth will chase after you. So I ask you to listen not with your ears only, but with your spirit. For when the truth is spoken, it awakens something within you. And when the inner man is awakened, the outer world must obey. Let us begin. Law 1. The law of assumption. Everything begins with the assumption you hold in your mind. If you assume lack, you will experience lack. If you assume abundance, abundance will appear in your world. It is not the outer facts that decide the flow of money into your life. It is the inner state you dare to occupy. You may look into your bank account and see only a few dollars. You may walk through your life and see doors seemingly closed. But if you persist in assuming wealth, those outer conditions will change. The world is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting the image you have accepted within. Do not say, "When I get the money, I will feel rich." That is reversal. You must first feel rich, then the money will come. The outer always follows the inner. The seed comes before the harvest, and the seed is assumption. To assume wealth is not to daydream or to wish. It is to enter the state of wealth as though it were already yours, to walk through the world in that consciousness, to clothe yourself in the feeling of financial freedom. You must become it in imagination before you become it in form. Ask yourself, if I were already wealthy, how would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? Then live from that inner position, and life will rush to reorganize itself in harmony with your assumption. This is the first law, the law of assumption. Money cannot resist the man or woman who already lives in the awareness of being prosperous. Law 2. The law of belief. Assumption leads to belief, and belief fixes the state. You may assume a thing for a moment, but unless it hardens into belief, it cannot hold. Belief is simply assumption made firm. All wealth in your life is measured by the strength of your belief. If you believe money is evil, you will unconsciously reject it. If you believe wealth belongs only to others, you will unconsciously exclude yourself from it. If you believe the world is against you, your money will always slip through your hands. But if you believe that wealth is your natural inheritance, if you believe that money flows easily and consistently to you, then your world must echo that belief. The outer cannot deny the inner conviction. Do not underestimate the power of a single belief. A man who believes he is unlucky with money will prove himself right every time. A woman who believes that wealth is always arriving will never be left empty. The subconscious takes belief as command, and then organizes circumstances to make it so. Belief is not formed by effort. It is formed by repeated dwelling. Whatever you continue to occupy in imagination becomes your conviction. The picture you entertain again and again becomes the belief that governs your finances. So guard your inner conversations. If you constantly say within yourself, "I never have enough," then you are planting the seed of poverty. But if within yourself you affirm, "Money comes to me steadily and without effort," you are shaping a belief that money must obey. This is the second law, the law of belief. Wealth belongs to the one who believes he already possesses it. Law 3. The law of imagination. Imagination is the workshop of wealth. Money does not begin in the bank. It begins in the mind. Every fortune, every enterprise, every invention that has brought prosperity into the world first existed as an image in someone's imagination. If you neglect your imagination, you cut off the true source of money, for it is not work alone that brings wealth, it is vision. Work without vision is slavery, but vision makes work creative. Imagination is not idle fancy, it is the creative act itself. When you imagine with feeling, you are setting in motion the invisible forces that will materialize your desire. The world of form must eventually conform to the picture you sustain. Therefore, if you would increase your money, increase your imagination, dare to see yourself as prosperous, dare to picture yourself free, unburdened, wealthy. If your present circumstances contradict the image, hold to the image anyway. Persist. Do not conform your imagination to the outer world. Command the outer world to conform to your imagination. A man who imagines himself poor, no matter how much he earns, will find a way to remain poor. But a man who imagines himself rich will attract opportunities, ideas, and relationships that bring his inner vision to life. Imagination must be specific. Do not merely imagine money. Imagine yourself using it, enjoying it, circulating it. Picture yourself paying every debt with ease, giving generously, receiving joyfully. Let the feeling of financial freedom flood your being as you create the inner movie of your wealth. And remember this, imagination is not limited by time. You need not ask when the money will come. Once you see it clearly within, it is already yours. Time is only the servant of imagination, delivering to you what you have already created in spirit. This is the third law, the law of imagine. What you dare to imagine with conviction, you must one day experience with your senses. Closing of this section. These first three laws are the foundation: assumption, belief, imagination. Together they form the inner pattern from which all wealth flows. Without them, the outer efforts of earning and saving are unstable. With them, even the smallest beginning will multiply. You must first assume abundance, then let it harden into belief, and finally give it shape through imagination. This is the inner trinity of wealth, and it is unshakable. Hold these three laws in your heart, and money will no longer be a struggle. It will become a natural expression of your inner state. Law 4. The law of feeling. Feeling is the secret. You may assume wealth, you may believe in abundance, you may even imagine prosperity, but unless you feel it to be real, it will not crystallize in your world. Everything in life responds to your inner vibration. Money is no exception. It flows to you when you feel its presence. It avoids you when you feel its absence. To feel wealthy is not merely to think wealthy thoughts. It is to embody the atmosphere of abundance. Stand tall, walk with confidence, breathe as one who owns the treasures of heaven and earth. Let every gesture, every movement, carry the vibration of plenty. Ask yourself, what would it feel like if I were already financially free? Then sink into that state until the feeling becomes natural. Hold it, live in it, breathe in. That feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Do not be deceived by appearances. You may look into your purse and find it empty, but if within yourself you feel the joy of plenty, soon the outer purse must match the inner fullness. The outer cannot remain in contradiction with the inner feeling for long. This is why many fail in their affirmations. They repeat words but deny themselves the feeling. Words without feeling are empty shells, but words infused with feeling become living seeds. So when you declare, I am wealthy, do not speak as one begging, but as one who already possesses. Say it with the quiet confidence of a king seated on his throne. This is the fourth law, the law of feeling. Money cannot resist the man or woman who feels wealthy now. Law 5. The law of attention. What you attend to grows. Where your attention rests, there your wealth will manifest. Attention is the channel through which your creative power flows. If your attention is constantly fixed on debt, on bills, on lack, then you water the garden of poverty. But if your attention is fixed on supply, on abundance, on the continual inflow of money, then you water the garden of prosperity. Most people scatter their attention. One moment, they affirm abundance. The next moment, they worry about shortage. They plant the seed of wealth, then uproot it by gazing at lack. This divided attention creates confusion in the subconscious, and no clear harvest can come from it. To master this law, you must discipline your attention. Do not indulge in images of failure. Do not rehearse scenes of financial loss. Every time you catch your mind wandering into fear, bring it back to abundance. Shift the inner picture. Attention is not passive, it is creative. Whatever you continually contemplate, you give life to. If you give life to thoughts of shortage, shortage will live in your world. If you give life to thoughts of plenty, plenty will multiply around you. Let your attention rest on what you want, not on what you fear. Refuse to feed the shadow. Nourish only the light. This is the fifth law, the law of attention. Money follows the path of your focused awareness. Law 6, the law of circulation. Money is not meant to be hoarded in fear. It is meant to circulate in love. It is like the blood in your body. If it does not flow, it brings sickness. But when it flows freely, it sustains life. Many people cut off their own supply because they clutch too tightly. They fear to spend. They fear to give. They fear to release. And in their fear, they choke the very channel through which money flows. Understand this. Every act of circulation is a declaration of faith. When you give freely, you announce to the universe, I live in abundance, not in scarcity, and that declaration opens the door for more to flow back to you. This does not mean reckless waste. It means giving with wisdom, spending with joy, and circulating with confidence. When you pay a bill, bless it. See it as evidence that money flows through you, not away from you. When you give to another, feel the delight of being a channel of supply. The fearful say, if I give, I will have less. But the wise know, as I give, I make room for more. Circulation is expansion. Every generous act enlarges your capacity to receive. Imagine the ocean. It gives endlessly to the shore, yet it is never depleted. So it is with the man or woman who circulates money in faith. They become like the ocean, endless in supply. This is the sixth law, the law of circulation. Money multiplies in the hands of the one who dares to release it. Law 7, the law of faith. The final law is the law of faith. Faith is the assurance of things not yet seen, the conviction that what you desire is already yours. Without faith, the other laws collapse. With faith, they stand unshakable. Faith is not hope. Hope looks to the future. Faith claims now. Faith says, it is done. Faith does not tremble at appearances, for faith knows appearances are shadows. The unseen governs the seen, and faith lives in the unseen. When you practice the law of faith, you cease to beg and begin to command. You no longer plead with life, you direct it. You speak the word with authority, and you rest in the certainty that it cannot return void. Faith is demonstrated in your calmness. The one who truly believes does not panic, does not doubt, does not chase after signs. He walks as though the money is already his, because inwardly it is. To have faith in wealth is to know that supply is eternal, that nothing can cut you off from it. The job may vanish, the business may fall, the market may shift, but faith knows that the source remains untouched. The source is within you, and it never runs dry. Faith is contagious. Those around you will feel it. Your confidence will open doors, attract helpers, and magnetize opportunities. For faith radiates an invisible signal, and the world rushes to obey it. This is the seventh law, the law of faith. With faith, you stand in the finished work. You live as one who already possesses, and life can do nothing but agree. The closing of the 7 laws. These 7 laws are not theories. They are eternal principles. They operate whether you acknowledge them or not. But when you know them and live by them, you master money instead of being mastered by it. Assumption, belief, imagination, feeling, attention, circulation, faith together they form the complete system of wealth. Use them, and you will find that money is no longer a struggle, no longer a chase. It will flow as naturally as breath, for you will be in harmony with the laws that govern it. The secret is not outside of you. The secret is within, for you are the source of wealth, and the world merely reflects the state you occupy. Choose this day to assume abundance, to believe in wealth, to imagine prosperity, to feel it real, to fix your attention upon it, to circulate it with joy, and to walk in faith. Do this, and your money will obey you. My friends, you have now been given the 7 divine laws that govern your money. They are not man's inventions. They are eternal truths, operating in silence, whether you recognize them or not. But when you choose to live by them consciously, the struggle with money ends. Remember, assumption is the seed, belief is the soil, imagination is the blueprint, and feeling is the lifeblood. Attention waters the seed, circulation expands it, and faith seals it as finished. Together they form the inner kingdom, from which all outer wealth must flow. Do not wait for the world to change before you change within. Begin tonight. Assume that you are already wealthy. Believe it until it hardens into conviction. Imagine yourself living the life of financial freedom. Feel it so vividly that it becomes your reality. Fix your attention on abundance, circulate money with joy, and walk in unshakable faith. The world cannot resist a man or woman who lives in the consciousness of wealth, for consciousness is the only reality, and the outer must obey the inner command. So go forth and live as though you already possess it, for indeed, you